And welcome into another episode of Tiger Territory, part of the Foul Territory Network, a Detroit Tigers podcast. I'm Kieran Steckley, and with me are a couple of guys that always go the extra mile, or should I say, take the extra base. Cody Stavenhagen. What's up, fellas?
What's
Doing
up?
good. Hey, introduce Austin Jackson again for me real quick. We've been under just introduce Austin Jackson for me.
Austin Jackson, a man who always takes the extra base in life and on the diamond. What's up, Austin? How are we doing?
Yes. Yes.
It's been a few minutes working on that.
Never gets old. Thanks, Cody. That never gets old. I love that all day, every day.
Well, we got kind of a nerdy beginning of this podcast. Cody just published a story on The Athletic about the Tigers being historic at taking the extra base. Speaking of taking the extra base this year. We talked about it a little bit. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to read it. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Cody just kind of pull his favorite nuggets from this story. And then we're going to have Austin kind of do the on the field practicality element of what it means to be a good base runner, good base running team, all of that stuff. So we'll start out with you, Cody. You obviously did a lot of research into this story and got some good bits of information. What's kind of the topical things that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, I think we've talked about this a lot, so I'll try to kind of keep it quick. And if you guys want a little more depth, you can go check out the story. But again, for anyone who's not aware, the Tigers lead all of baseball in extra bases taken. So that's going one or more bases on a single, two or more bases on a double. Not only do they lead the majors by a long shot, 54%. Second is the Brewers and the Dodgers have kind of alternated at second place at 47%. So 7 percentage points. Not only are they outdoing the rest of the baseball, they're outdoing the rest of baseball since 1975. No one has taken extra bases at a rate this high since the 1975 Oakland A's. So again, totally historic. Really aggressive. That's a product of Joey Cora. There also might be an analytical factor to it if you go check out the run expectancy matrix, which is in that story. Basically, there's just a lot more value if you have runners on first and third as opposed to runners on first and second. I thought it was interesting. Spencer Torkelson the other day had a great first to third, ran on Juan Soto's arm, almost got hosed, but he didn't. He was safe. And after that, Torque told Jason Beck of MLB.com that his little foray playing outfield in spring training, remember that? One of the weirdest storylines of the year, kind of helped him on the bases because he realized, as a Major League Baseball player, realizing oh yeah, it's really hard to throw guys out. And he's not wrong. Even in the major leagues, it's not an easy thing to do to put that thing on the money.
Yeah, I mean, and you said it about how they're leading the league in extra bases taken, but we're also looked up the stat is they are last in stolen bases. So dead to last. Me, dead last, when I see that, I'm like, okay, so that's a telltale sign of a bought-in mentality that I think that they started last year of wanting to be a better and more aggressive base running team. And that's a buy-in type thing because again, they're dead last in stolen bases. So there are not a lot of blazers on that team. Guys that can run, well enough though, but just not really good base stealers. So that to me tells me that that's everybody's bought into that mentality, and that starts with AJ Hinch and Joey Cora, giving them that permission. Sometimes even as Major League Baseball players, you need that permission to fail. We want, again, you talk about how hard it is to throw a guy out. So us knowing that, we want to put the pressure on the opposing team because if we're always thinking take the extra base as a defender, if I know this team is like that, I have to be perfect. I can't muff a ball. I can't stumble over a ball because that little hesitation of anything other than fielding it cleanly and getting it out clean, they're taking the extra base. They're already looking for a single hit to the outfield. If you muff that ball, if you kick that ball, they're already in that mentality and it starts in the box. And I remember hearing that from a coach a long time ago, that how you hit more doubles, it starts in the box. So if you are aggressive out of the box, which a lot of these Tigers players are, they have the ability to get to second base because in your mind, you're thinking two anyways, unless they stop me. So I'm thinking 2 unless they stop me. And that looks like how this team's motto is, like, make them stop you. You talked about Torque running on Soto's arm. He has a good arm now. He can throw. I've seen him make some really strong, accurate throws. And I'm sure in that moment he probably wasn't thinking he was going to go. He's not a burner, but he put the pressure on him. Like you said, he almost got, but he didn't though. He could have easily stopped, and that inning could be different. But it's the mentality. It's the mentality when you know that you're not a fast base running team. We can be aggressive though, knowing that that's putting pressure on their opposing team, and that if they do mess up in just a little bit, our mindset is take that extra base, and you see it. And it's took this team from a team that can produce some numbers. They can produce some numbers with the bats, but with them being in scoring position and taking that extra base with the bats that they have, the consistency that they've been having in the lineup, it makes this team a really tough team, especially coming to the playoffs.
It was at the All-Star game when someone asked Riley Green, like, hey, this time a year ago, you guys weren't very good. Now you have the best record in baseball. What happened? And he pointed to the Joey Cora meeting. Now, the Tigers, down the stretch last year, they had elite pitching. Their offense since last August has been greatly improved. But I do wonder, like, how much does the base running go hand in hand with better offense? Obviously, you got to have guys on the base paths to run the base paths. But I wonder if there's some invisible impact too. You get a guy on third as opposed to second. Maybe that pitcher is less likely to spike a curveball in the dirt. Maybe you take something out of his arsenal.
Yeah.
The Tigers, they're sending trail runners around all the time too. I don't know how much that shows up in the numbers that we've talked about, but you send a guy home and that ball goes home. They have a guy going to second. Now you got a runner in scoring position. Maybe that impacts the approach of the guy at the plate. I don't know, Austin. Do you have any insight on just how those things that maybe we can't pick up in the stats can impact what happens on the field?
Bro, you cooking. You said it perfectly though, because like those things don't show up in the stats, right? And I think they can definitely be overlooked because he just took the extra base. That's what he's supposed to be doing. But when you have the team that is buying into that, everybody is aggressive like that. And when you see your teammate take that extra base, you like, okay, now I want to. And you talked about how does that change your approach in the box? It definitely does, because when you see your teammate just bust his butt, almost get thrown out a second on a ball that the majority of major leaguers today, they hit a ball to the outfield, they cool, they boom, boom, boom. They already know. This team is not like that. So when you see your teammate in front of you bust his butt and get out and get to second base on a ball that probably should have been a single, yeah, that makes you lock it in. That makes you lock in to doing a job. There's a job to be done right there. So that was always the mentality when runners were in scoring position. It was about doing a job, and it didn't necessarily have to be scoring. It could be moving him over, getting him over for the guy behind me to do a job. So there's a lot that goes into that. The awareness too. You have to be aware. You can't just. There are times where you're probably just out there just running wild. But at the end of the day, you have to be aware. You have to be aware of the outfielders. You have to know their arms. There's so many things that go into it that stats don't show. These are all things that happen down in that locker room, down in that meeting room, and then everybody buys into it. Everybody's like, "Hey, this is what we're doing. We're not just because we get thrown out once. That can't deter us from attempting and staying aggressive on the base path." So you hit it right on the head, Cody.
So two things there. One, I like that Austin said everybody has to be bought in, because all these numbers that we're talking about that Cody put in his story, it doesn't really work if it's just McKinstry and Perez running out there. It's got to be Dingler, it's got to be Torque, it's got to be Carpenter, even if his hamstring's not 100%. You just got to keep doing it. So that the everybody thing is key there, in my opinion. And then the last one, and then I'll ask this to Austin, is we all know baseball is a game of failure, but there is still something I would think about the embarrassment, for lack of a better word, of being thrown out on the base pass. And that is something that the team has had to just decide we're not going to care about. And so so I guess I would just ask you, Austin, how much of a mental hurdle is it for somebody to get over you're going to strike out a lot, but you probably don't want to get thrown out all that much. You know what I mean? So how much of a mental hurdle is that aspect of what these Tigers are doing, where they just like, like, okay, we get thrown out, that's fine. We'll go on to the next one. Because I feel like that's a hard thing for guys.
I mean, it can be, but again, I think it starts with the leaders in the locker room, and by leaders, I'm talking about AJ Hinch. I mean, him allowing the guys the freedom to fail. I spoke on the story maybe a couple episodes back about how it might have been more than that, but about Leland telling me, we don't need Curtis Granderson, we need Austin Jackson. That gave me that freedom to go out there and play my game, play the game that I know how to play the game aggressive, be an athlete. And when you're given the permission to do that, when you're given permission to fail, we are going to get thrown out, but we're going to make aggressive mistakes. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing if we make a mistake, it's going to be aggressive. And again, you still got to make that perfect throw. You got to make a perfect throw. He has to field it cleanly. He has to apply that tag while you're coming in sliding. There's so many other aspects that go into it that have to go right, for that person to be thrown out, for that base runner to be thrown out. So if you're doing it aggressive and that team knows that, there are so many things that have to go right for them to get you out if you're being aggressive, because there's been too many times that I've got a basic single hit to me up the middle, and I put my head down, and when I look up, dude is very aggressive on that turn, like uncomfortable aggressive. So I know how that feels. So if you're applying that type of pressure to a defense, I mean, I'm telling you right now, it puts that in their minds that I got to get to this ball, cut it off, and get it in. Well, you doing that, there could be a error throw. And now I'm taking another base because that was a bad throw because I put this pressure on him. So there's definitely a lot that goes into that, and it's having the freedom to fail. You fail in this game all the time, but again, if you're making an aggressive mistake, that's the best mistake.
All right, and all of this base running talk leads us to our chart topper of the week, presented by DraftKings. If I were to give a leader in the clubhouse for this, I would give it to Zach McKinstry. He is kind of like the epitome of the aggressive base runner, the flying around, caution to the wind, all that stuff. And also, I think he has just immaculate running form. Like I really I've said this before, but I think like there's a guy that's like Coke bottle, milk bottle on his head when he's running. That might be him. Like he looks like an actual sprinter in terms of his form out there. So I don't think it's
not Riley Green.
Not Riley Green. Riley Green would have you could put a gallon jug on there and it'd be empty by the time you got to first base. So with the clothes too. No, I'm just kidding. So
yikes.
Oh my gosh.
So sorry, Riley. Sorry,
buddy. So I wanted to point out something about Zach McKinstry. He leads his team in stolen bases, which again isn't much considering that we just talked about their last in stolen bases. But he has not had a stolen base since August 17th, and he was recently thrown out. So I'm thinking he's got to get that taste out of his mouth. He had gone since July 5th having a caught stealing, so he doesn't want that like too recent on his daily box score. So I have a pick here, and we'll put it on the screen. Zach McKinstry to have a stolen base. That the odds as of recording plus 550. So if you bet $100, you win $550. And I think this is the series to do it. Zach McKinstry is going to get a stolen base against the Chicago White Sox. They got a talented catcher, but that's not necessarily his forte. And Zach's going to get that bad taste out of his mouth of getting caught stealing this week. So that is my pick. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
All right, coming back here. We earlier last month we did an episode, the 2006 Tigers versus this current squad, and that was the team that went to the World Series. So we're just gonna move up in the timeline a little bit and go to the next team that made the World Series, representing the Tigers, and we got a guy here who was on the team. So we're going to do the same kind of little breakdown. We'll have Austin with us, telling us about that season. So I wanted to start with this, Austin. 2012 Tigers. I'm going to run out of voice if I try to mimic that one. But Austin Jackson, if I say to you, the 2012 Detroit Tigers, what kind of comes to mind?
Powerhouse, man. You look at on paper, the squad we had is unbelievable. From the pitching staff to the offense, defense, we were stacked, man. And so that's the word that comes to mind is powerhouse, because we were pretty much from top to bottom as good as it gets. And that was a fun team, man. Fun clubhouse too. That's another big thing, is that clubhouse was unreal, man. Like it was like a party every day. That's how we kept it. We kept it fun, and everybody got along with each other in the clubhouse, and we really enjoyed playing with each other, man. Like it didn't feel like a job. It literally felt like you was going out with your boys, and we about to kick some tail right now, and that's what we did, man. We handled business, but we were a powerhouse, man. We dominated. That's what we did.
I could only imagine the comfort level that comes with being able to pencil in a Miguel Cabrera and a Prince Fielder in the middle of your lineup. That's a pretty easy job there for Jim Leyland. That very specific aspect. Then you throw in the pitching, all that stuff. Yeah, powerhouse for sure. So
I'm gonna be real. Great team. Made it to the World Series. It is jarring every time to look on paper and be like, they only won 88 games.
Yeah.
So that was what
tells you how hard baseball is.
Yeah,
We talked last episode about all the things that don't make any sense. That team, 3 Hall of Famers plus Prince Fielder plus a bunch of other dudes. 88 wins? Dang.
Yeah.
So through 141 games, which is where we're at with the 2025 Tigers, they have currently a 81-60 record. The 2012 team was 74-67. And as Cody said, 88-74 on the season, obviously made it to the World Series. So do you want to start with the breakdown right now, Cody?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Starting at catcher, starting behind the plate.
Let's do catcher. We have you guys
in order this time. That's an improvement. I like it.
We're putting Dingler versus Alex Avila, and we talked about both of these guys recently about the value of having high-end catching play. And Dingler 2.7, chances are it's going to go up here in the next 40 games or so, or 20 games, excuse me. But Alex Avila was a fine player too, and this wasn't his best season, but he was still pretty rock solid behind the plate there. So what do you guys think?
He was beat up too. He was beat up a lot. I'm not making any excuses, but poor Al, man. Like it was rough watching him walk up and down stairs. Like it looked really bad sometimes. So he was beat up. No excuses, because he still played well, but he was beat up. But you're looking at it right now at the numbers that Dingler put up, and is currently putting up. And this guy's he's the truth, man. He's helped this team out tremendously. I think he's exceeded all expectations of what he was going to be coming into this year. I think he really felt like he had something to prove, and you can see it, man. This dude can play.
Love my guy Jake Rogers, but Jake Rogers doesn't need to play more. We're gonna roll. We're gonna roll with Dylan Dingler. What a guy!
Yeah, but shout out to Vila for having 2 stolen bases. So,
Right?
so
Yeah.
we'll give Dingler the advantage
Probably a
there.
trail.
All right.
Probably a trail stolen, mate, but it's P.
Going on to first base, we have a couple guys that we've already mentioned a couple times on this podcast: Spencer Torkelson versus Prince Fielder. And I almost feel bad how lopsided this is because Torks had a fine year, but you're going up against prime Prince Fielder, man. Like it's like what you just gotta chalk it up. You know, very few could compare to prime Prince Fielder.
Yeah, this
412 on base percentage. That'll
Yeah,
play.
bro. He was unreal, and it was crazy because there would be times where Prince like didn't feel that he was doing good or something. I'm like, dude, you like first of all, you're protecting one of the best hitters ever. That's hard in itself. And just to see the numbers, because I mean, I haven't looked at these numbers in so long, but look, I mean, these are unreal numbers, man. And like you said, it's hard to compete against Prince, dude. What he did on a baseball field, playing every single day, never come 162 games. First of all, that's not realistic. That's a machine, dude. Nobody's playing 162 games right now. Like, not you're getting one day off. And that dude wouldn't. He's a horse, man. He didn't want to come out. You couldn't get him out. And it's crazy that he was able to stay on the field as long, because Prince he wasn't just like a stationary guy. Prince could move, dog. Like Prince would get out the box, and he'd get dirty. He'd dive for balls, man. So just that alone, dude, right there, a guy that you cannot drag off the field, man. I gotta go with my dude Prince. And of course, you see the numbers, but that's pretty much expected.
Yeah, I mean, this year's Tigers team probably going to finish with more wins than 2012. But man, Riley Green's having a great year. Torque's having a great year. Glaber's been a little bit more of that one base guy they've lacked for years. You still don't really have a Prince Fielder who 4 out of every 10 times he comes to the plate, he's getting on base.
Yeah.
What an asset to have, like I said earlier. All right, well, speaking of that, Cody, we can go to second base and Gleyber Torres versus Omar Infante, who had a couple stints with the Tigers, and Gleyber was an All-Star starter this year. He has cooled off considerably as the summer has worn on. But what do you guys think here?
Oh man, hey, Omar, that's my Infante. That's my guy, dude. That dude is he's just super impressive. Like I just talked about him from a hitting standpoint. And first, let me speak on Gleyber though, because I really like his approach, man. Like his approach is, I know he has the leg kick, but his mechanics and just how consistent I've seen him this year. With getting that leg up and getting it down, because a lot of guys have leg kicks in the big leagues, but his just seems so consistent to me, and how he's able to balance in the box and the way he's able to stay inside the ball, drive the ball opposite field on pitches, middle in, pitches away. He's able to stay on that ball. This dude he's a great hitter. I love watching him hit because, again, like he just looks locked in all the time. Even when you can tell he's kind of scuffling and not feeling it, it just looks at any given moment based off like his mechanics and his balance and his timing that he could get a hit anytime. But my man Infante, dude, it was so awesome to watch this dude hit a baseball. Like I don't know if a lot of people know it, but this dude was like his cage work and his his on the field work, his path to the ball. Like we talk about top hand earlier, Kieran. This was this dude could take a pitch. We always used to joke because he would his warm-up swing and his eyes would be like this, and he would take a warm-up swing and he would swing level with his eyes. And I'm like, are you looking for that pitch? Like, are you looking for a pitch at your eyes? And I don't know if too many people could take a pitch up and stay like there was no dip in his swing. He was just all top hand and threw the ball. It was incredible, man. He was a really good second baseman. I'm biased a little bit, man, but I gotta take my man Infante, man. He's a great player for a long time.
Glaber, we talked all first half about how just incredibly consistent he had been. He's only hitting 223 since the All-Star break. Talk about something that could really help the Tigers going down the stretch is if he can get going a little bit again.
So we going with Omar there?
I gotta go, man. Fonte.
Go with Omar. Defense
Tell me
better
what
for
you
sure.
got. What you
Go
got?
and go with Omar. The defense,
1.2
man, kind of
defensive
kills
WAR
Glaber.
that year, by the way. So, all right.
Ooh.
Another one that's doesn't need all that much discussion, but sometimes I think people sleep on Peralta, man. I think people sleep about how cold this guy was, even as he got older, because he could hit and he was a bad dude on the field too. So I mean, I don't know. I got a game worn jersey by Peralta hanging up in my office. That's a bad dude. That's a bad dude.
Peralta was a beast, man. He was a beast. I'm telling you one thing: if you hit it to him, he's gonna make that play. But if it was to the left or right, Johnny P, come on, baby, come on now, like come on. I shouldn't be fielding that ball now. That's a ground ball in the infield. Why am I fielding it now? But like you said, hey, Kieran, you said it. My man could hit. Johnny Peralta, he'd go up there looking just with them, like he's just all chilling. He'd have his little bat like that, and I'm talking about when he hit a baseball. He could hit off speed probably better than most guys. His ability to stay on an off speed pitch and drive it out of the ballpark was pretty amazing to watch, and he did it pretty consistently. The time that I played with him, he was just such a good hitter, man. Like, and he had power. The average obviously wasn't there because that wasn't what he was really needed for. He was a bopper, man. So. The Rangers shortstop, he's a bigger guy. He's a bigger guy. Johnny P's a little, he liked his food, But he was a good teammate, man, and he played the game hard. He played it right, but he could thump. That man could thump. So I got to go with Johnny P right here.
A real downstream effect of Matt Vierling and Parker Meadows being out pretty much all years. That's been a lot more Javi in center. And Trey Sweeney has played 102 games.
Dude, that
I just checked to make sure I wasn't combining this year and last year. I got it right. He's played 102 games. Not necessarily a good thing for this year's Tigers team.
Yeah, got to go with Johnny there. Not much discussion, and not much discussion on the next one either. Where it's Colt
Is this guy any good?
And Miguel Cabrera. I don't know what else you could say about Miggy, man, but this was an MVP season for him. This was, playing third base. All the storylines about, the unselfishness to allow Prince to come on the team, and they obviously embraced each other. So it's fitting. Colt Keith had to change positions too this year, but Miggy's Miggy.
Go ahead, Cody.
I don't got much here. We put Colt Keith as the third baseman. We also McKinstry could fit. I think he's actually played more games at third. So that's a reminder again in comparing these teams. 2025 Tigers operate a lot differently. The lineup's changing all the time. Wasn't quite that way in 2012. I don't know. I don't know if you got anything, Austin. What did you think when you found out Miggy was going to go to third base?
I absolutely thought that if anybody could do it, he could, because well, when you look at the 161 games played, I mean, that's a guy that he's 6'4", around that probably 280-ish upper, more probably a little bit more. I try to be nice.
Listed at 230 his entire career.
230. 230 when he was 12. But no, his son is huge. His son is 230. But no, I just think that, man, like, people probably don't realize how good of an athlete Miguel Cabrera was. Yeah, seeing him make that transition to third base, it was flawless, man. Like when we saw him in spring training, taking ground balls and throwing balls to first base, it was just like, yeah, that's not normal. That's not normal for you to, be a first baseman and then make that transition and make it look easy at that size. So that's what I'm saying. Like when you think about Miguel Cabrera, you think about his hitting, which, yeah, you should. But I'm telling you, the dude was an athlete. He was an athlete, man. He could hoop, he could play football, he could throw a football. I mean, he could do it all. So it didn't surprise me when I saw. Well, it did surprise me, but seeing him play third base, and just making it look so easy, man, making it look effortless, making it look like he's been doing that for a while. It was unreal, man. And like you said, him being selfless right there and allowing Prince to come in and play first base, knowing that it was only going to improve our chances of winning. That just shows what kind of teammate he was and what kind of person he was. But the dude was a freak athlete.
Yeah, it bears repeating. He was a made man at this point. He did not have to do that, and he did. So credit, he should forever be held in high regard just for that alone, in addition to his great play. All right, let's go to a break, Cody, so we can get our another ad break in here before we transition to the outfield with a couple familiar faces for the Tigers. But first, a word from our sponsors.
FT fam, designer clothes can be expensive, but we want our clothes to look good. We want to feel good. We want them to be affordable. And Kratz, if you tell me that I can wear a t-shirt that looks like it's tailored, but it's not actually tailored, and it just comes that way, then sign me up for True Classic.
Have to. You got to sign up for it because these shirts are soft, they're thin, they're durable, and they're very versatile. You can wear them to the gym. You can wear them out to a nice dinner. Let's get after it because these shirts are the real deal.
They are. Check it out. I've got one of the performance ones. It's a nice blue, fits well. I can go to the gym. I can go out. I can do FT in a shirt like this. FT fam, there's a reason why True Classic has sold over 25 million shirts to more than 5 million customers, and they are racking up over 200,000 five-star reviews. See for yourself with our exclusive link at trueclassic.com/foul to save. That's trueclassic.com/FOUL.
All right, coming back here, we got Riley Green, the smooth runner, and friend of the podcast, Andy Dirks, who, I'm glad that he's broadcasting now because I think it gives people hey, go back. How good of a ball player was he? Dude could play some ball. Riley Green, obviously an all-star starter this year, young and improving, setting a lot of records for drafted Tigers players' offensive production. So what do you guys think? Dirks and Green.
Dirks hit 322 that year, man.
Yeah,
322. Man. He could play a little ball. Only played 88 games, of course. Riley only at 2.6 WAR kind of throws me off because he's been so good. He has 32 homers. He has 100 RBI. Doesn't grade out quite as well defensively, despite still making a lot of diving plays, not covering the ground he was even last year. Still a great player, but I'm surprised this isn't a 4 or 5 win season.
Yeah, I think that goes to show that how good Dirks really was. In you see the games played, you see the difference there, the plate appearances, and then Dirks still getting 101 hits. Dirks was a grinder, man. He wasn't he didn't have this ego. He was a grinder, he was a team player. He was going to do the necessary things to help a team win. And defensively, he was going to go all out for you. Riley, really two different players here we're looking at, right? Like Riley's a bopper coming into himself and probably going to be a star for this team for a long time. But I think about what Dirks was able to do on the defensive end, and I just feel like he brought so much value because of that. Both left-handed hitters, but the defense, I think, is what stands out to me over Dirks. Dirks wasn't a guy that was required to be a bopper. We didn't need him to be that. We kind of needed him to be like a slasher type player, hit balls in the gap, steal some bases, take some extra bases. And as I'm saying that, I'm looking at one stolen base. But but he was a sneaky runner, though. Dirks was a sneaky runner, like maybe not sneaky. McKinstry's not sneaky, but Dirks could run a little bit. He would definitely take the extra base. He played that hard-nosed style of baseball, like that old school style of baseball. But in this day and age, when we talk about, how this game has changed and how it's evolved so much offensively, Riley might take the slight edge in this one because I think we can put up with the defense if he's putting up some offensive numbers like this. So.
Yeah, I'm going Riley Green, 30 and 100. You can't knock that. If he could take a few more walks and get that on base percentage up, this would not be as close as it looks right here on paper. Austin, 2020-12 Tigers, man. 38% extra bases taken, 25th in the league. What were you guys doing?
Dude, we had
Not taking
Miggy
chances.
and Prince Fielder. you don't go ahead and run and get thrown out if you want to. Miggy, when we playing against Tampa Bay, Miggy, I stole one time and I got thrown out. And Miggy looked at me all the way with his hand on his hip in front of everybody. With his hand on his hip, he looked at me all the way to the dugout. Next pitch, hit it in the aquarium. Hit it in the aquarium in Tampa Bay, and then looks at me as I come around third base as I'm trying to hide. So I learned my lesson. I'm like, if I'm on, I'm in scoring position. So that's why you don't.
You're not wrong.
Out.
You're not wrong.
Fair
The
enough.
dynamic is a little different, and that leads us to the main event here.
Oh, Jackson!
Ooh. Dang.
Y'all see that? Y'all see that?
Ooh, I see you, Kieran. Let's go. Let's go. Yes,
The
sir.
legendary Galarraga game catch.
Uh-huh. Let me see what we got here.
All right. Can't make
Look at that
Austin
youthful
talk
face.
about himself too much,
I know,
right?
man,
Right.
you know.
This is a heck of a season, man. This is a heck of a season from a center fielder. Javi Baez, in a way, has been this year's Miguel Cabrera. Established, highly paid dude, selfless enough to move positions. It's worked out. He's played plus defense in center field. He's moved back to short and then back to center. The bat's cooled way off since a hot start to the season. It's become a little bit of a problem. Hasn't been playing as much lately. But still, when you look at the big picture, where would this year's Tigers be if not for Javi Baez at least being able to hold down some center field? Could be a little bit of a different story. So a contribution that probably shouldn't be overlooked, even if he's not quite at Austin Jackson's level.
Yeah, I was challenged this year too. Well, I think I challenged myself because I was asking my teammates if I did this, could I get a watch? If I did this, could I get, a diamond bracelet or something? So I was like doing things so I could hold myself. But like, I want to, work for this watch. I better. And I ended up getting it too, by the way. Peralta had to give me his iced out Breitling. Oh, he didn't want to give it to me. He didn't want to.
What'd you get that for?
I think that was for the home runs. I think that was for the home runs. And I remember he wasn't gonna give it to me, and the team got on him. They was like, "Nah, man, you can't make no bet like that and not come through." Also, Prince Fielder, he told me that if I get a 370 on base percentage, he would get me a watch as well. So I got 2 watches that year.
Wow.
And he also said if you get 370 on base percentage, and we'll go to the World Series. I was like, okay, and we ended up going to the World Series. That's crazy. That's crazy. So,
yeah, not much to say here.
Good though, man. Javi's done good though. Like you said, you can't really, take that for granted. Moving to center field, that's an athlete. We talk about athletes. This dude is athletic enough. Not everybody can go play center field and adjust well to it. You can throw some Major League Baseball players out there, but I've seen him make some really good catches out there and make it look pretty easy too.
I was about to say, if there's a list of guys this century that played center field at Comerica that look comfortable and instinctual there, Austin's in that category, Parker's in that category, and we have to put Javi in that category as well. I'm not even talking about who's better or whatever, but just pure baseball instincts can get after a ball. Javi has put himself there, in my opinion. So we'll give the edge to our guy Ajax. I mean, there was no tiebreaker, but the tiebreaker would have been Ajax anyway because he's on the podcast. All right, we can go to right field. Wenzel Perez versus Brendan Bosch. And Perez is a guy who has come on. He was obviously hurt beginning of this year, and I still think his value is understated by what the numbers we're looking here. And Bosch was a guy that you loved the lefty swing when it connected, but if you look at it, 240, he ended up having only 12 home runs. It obviously didn't connect as much as what his potential could have been. He started out pretty hot.
Who else was playing in right this year? Austin, you had some Donnie Kelly for sure.
Oh, DK was out there.
Ryan Rayburn.
Yeah, Rayburn. I think I want to say Dirks went over there a little
Yeah,
bit.
probably some.
Dirks
Yeah.
went over there when Quentin was out there. So yeah, I think those three. But yeah, man, I listen. Bosch was my guy, man. I remember his first game up. He took a pitch. I think it was like down and in, or it was down. I know that, and drove it over the left field fence, Oppo, and everybody was like, "Yo, that ball was." I mean, let me tell you something. When Bosch hit a ball,
Yeah.
hey,
Oh yeah.
it sounded different. My man was strong. Now he was 6'4", 235. Good athlete, could move, pretty athletic. But man, I'm telling you, when he squared the ball up, it just sounded different, and it just never came down. He hit some of the hardest balls. I don't even know if we had the whole StatCast thing during this time, but I'm sure he'd have been the leader in hard hit balls several times. But his defense was, I think, something that he was kind of unsure of himself at times, unsure if he should go for that or make that throw, or there was just a lot of unsureness with him sometimes. And I think a lot of that came from just trying to live up to those expectations, when really, I mean, I think he had proved that he was very capable of being in the big leagues. And then he also got put into a pretty tough position, I would say, for a young guy hitting second in front of Miguel Cabrera. Hey, you thinking you're gonna get fastballs, but when you're standing up there 6'4", 235, brother, you getting them. So it's I enjoyed my time with Bosch, man. He's a great teammate. We had some good good times together. But Winsell, I just think defensively and in his arm and how accurate he can be with that arm in the outfield. Hitting, I think he does well. Solid hitter, makes really good contact. Doesn't try to do too much. He just has a short, compact swing, and there's a lot of thump in that swing too. At times, he's hit some balls really well that I couldn't tell, on TV, and then they show the angle, and it's like, whoa, no, he clicked that ball good. So I'm giving Winsell this one because I think that defensively, he stands out.
Yeah, Winston's done a lot of nice things for the Tigers this year. He has run into some outs on the bases recently that weren't necessarily a product of aggressive sins. They were just straight up mistakes. He doesn't like to get called off on fly balls, right? So he's one of the more raw players on this team, which in a way it's like, dude, he's still really young. He's still getting better.
Yeah.
Really interested to see where his career is going to go. But, man, he's done a lot of things to help them win.
Yeah, fun player, fun guy to root for. And that brings us to DH. And speaking of hitting the ball hard, both of these guys could hit the cover off the ball, and we saw Carey do it on Wednesday, 100 miles an hour, and then sent it into the right field stand. So Delman was a postseason hero. The numbers here don't necessarily reflect like his true value, but what do you guys think?
Postseason Delman, bruh. Gotta have him, brother. I'm telling you right now. Now, time will tell with Mr. Carey though. Now, because he's had a moment.
Dude, he's already got some postseason under his belt.
Dude, that ball 100 in on the black, and he's turning on it like that, man. This dude, he shocked me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm convinced now. I'm all the way convinced that this dude is legit. Not that I, was thinking that he was just going to come off, because you see the swings, but at some point you're figuring like, oh, well, maybe this just like the league will start to figure him out, but they're just not. There's not too many holes in his swing. Up, down, in, away. He kind of does it all. Like I would throw him everything away. I wouldn't throw him anything in or anything he can, turn on. I'd be throwing him stuff away. But again, if we're going, who we're taking, I'm gonna have to take Carp, man. I love Delman though. That's my guy. But seeing him run bases sometimes was hilarious. Delman had me rolling. He get the running, but man, he could thump. He could hit a ball a country mile. And he used like a 35, 34 inch bat, 35 ounce, 34 inch. It's something ridiculous, and nobody's using that. Nobody's that cock strong. Them youngs are different, man. They built different, but If I'm taking a guy, I'm gonna take Carp right here. But love me some postseason Young though, man. Delman was a beast.
The chess piece value of Kerry Carpenter remains like hard to put into context. You can't put a number on it. Yesterday's game, Clay Holmes, right-handed starter, stayed in to face Kerry Carpenter, walked him. Behind him was Riley Green, another left-handed batter. Mets brought in Gregory Soto. They didn't want to bring in Soto for Carp, probably because they knew AJ would go to his bench. But where does that lead us? Carp is still in the game because the other manager was afraid. And then he gets the at bat against Helsley and he goes yard. That's just like the next level that Kerry Carpenter keeps bringing to this team. It's kind of incredible to watch play out day after day.
Yeah, I agree. Delman, great memories, but Carpenter's no slouch in the postseason department, and his story is yet to be written. So give the edge to Carpenter there. So now we got a utility guy.
Utility. Now, Tigers had Donnie Kelly too, but the guy with the most at bats off the bench was Quentin Berry that year. And Zach McKinstry, he could be the starter at third. He's played a lot of right. He's played a lot of short. But he's really this team's do-it-all super utility. So we're going to compare these two, and I think it's another area where it's almost hard to compare these teams because they're so different. McKinstry, we call him a utility guy or a bench player. He's in the lineup pretty much every day. 2.8 WAR season, exceeded all expectations. Been a huge part of this.
Yeah. I think just because of where you can play him and just his value in that aspect of being able to pretty much play anywhere on the field, hit anywhere in the lineup. I think for that reason alone, really, that he takes it on this one, and what he's able to do on the base pass. And I mean, he has 19 stolen bases. It's not too far off from Quentin there. And Quentin was a really good base runner, really, really high level elite base stealer. But I like his game. I like his bat. I like his bat. I love the way that he's able to make transition and not look like he's not able to play there. He looks like pretty comfortable in his role. And like I said, and from that alone, him being able to play anywhere and hit anywhere in the lineup, I gotta take my man Zach.
All right, we're getting long here. Zach's going to get the edge. Comparing the rotations is interesting, but nothing is interesting as comparing the ace of these two rotations. Yeah. Justin Verlander, Tarik Skubal. Tarik Skubal has a good chance to win back-to-back Cy Youngs. He's probably still not going to measure up to the 8 WAR season Justin Verlander had, but he does have a better ERA, higher strikeout rate, doesn't walk as many dudes. These are two real guys right here.
Yeah, well, Skubal had the edge over 06 Verlander. But that was very young Verlander. This is a little bit closer. This is very close. It might be the exact same age season. I had to
Verlander's age 29. This is Skubal's age 28 season.
Yeah, so right there. These are two guys in the prime of their career. And
the WAR is higher for Verlander because he's throwing a lot more innings.
Yeah.
Man, this is a tough one, man, because obviously getting to play with Ver and getting to see him pitch so many games and getting to see the bulldog that he was, but now getting to watch Tyreek and seeing that he's that same type of bulldog on the mound. He's coming from the left side. They have this mentality, they have this aura about him on the mound, man, that you can't miss it, and that presence alone, man, is just it's intimidating. Two big guys up on the mound coming at you, not afraid to throw a fastball at you. But Verman in this time was different. He was different. Like you knew that he was going 7+. He wasn't going to come out the game. You couldn't take him out the game. They'd like come out there if you want to. You gonna be walking right back to the dugout because that's just who he was. He knew his what he was capable of, and he was going to give you that every time he pitched. I'm gonna take Ver in this one. I'm gonna take Ver, man. I'm a little biased, but I just think that he had that it, and not that Tyreek doesn't, but I think that just playing behind him and seeing how he would set hitters up and then go from 92 to 93 to 100, that's different, man. So I'm gonna take Ver.
I'm going to take Tarek Skubal.
Ooh.
We got a better ERA, better strikeout rate, better walk rate, ERA plus. So you're comparing it to the rest of the league. Tarek's better. All Verlander has is the innings, the era in which he played. Now it's close. I'll take either of these guys. But if we look at the staff as a whole, no, 2012 Tigers win that pretty easily. You had Scherzer. Porcello actually didn't have that good of a year, 4.57 ERA, but you had a little Anibal Sanchez, a little Drew Smiley. Doug Fister had a better ERA than Scherzer that year. That was a rotation with some dudes, and that helped you guys get to the World Series, no doubt.
Absolutely, dude. When you that deep and start, the bullpen, we were good that year, but the starting rotation was ridiculous. That any guy that went out there had the potential to win the ball game and go long in the ball game as well. So that was always cool, like knowing that these guys were going to give you 6, 7+ innings. And, they were always going to give us a chance to win the game at the end of the game.
Yeah, I would side with Skubal because he's a friend of the podcast, so that gives him the tiebreaker. He's come on the pod before. So right now, I think we're going to end up in a tie, guys, because the position, if you include the utility, it's 5-5. And then if you say that
separate rotation and bullpen to break the tie, I don't know which bullpen's supposed. How do you guys feel about that 2012 bullpen?
I would give it to this year's squad because starters aren't that impressive if you just look at the numbers. So it's got to be something, and therefore it's bullpen. So I would give
Valverde, what you talking about, man? We have Valverde. Get out of here.
35 saves with
35
respect.
saves, 69 innings, 71 innings out of Benoit.
Will Vest is almost a 2-WAR player, man.
Who is
good? Will Vest. Will Vest having a nice year.
Yeah. He's a
different bullpens used in different ways. So again, a little bit of a different game, a little bit of a different era. I think the 2025 Tigers have to get to the World Series before we can say they win, though.
And then again, we've also said with respect to the Hall of Famer Jim Leland and AJ Hinch, friend of the podcast, we're just gonna make it a draw, so we don't have to make any decisions here. I don't want anybody getting mad at us. I think right now this is a tie. So it's up to this year's squad to match or exceed what the 2012 team did, and what a special year that was, and fun to go down memory lane. So a little bit of a long podcast, guys, but a lot of fun nonetheless. I'm glad we were able to do that with Austin on here. See the smile on his face as he's talking about his former clubhouse mates and giving us little anecdotes and stuff. That was a lot of fun. So you guys can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Tiger Territory _ Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you get your podcasts. TigerTerritoryShop.com if you want some merch. And hey guys, let's enjoy the home stretch here in September. So for Austin Jackson, I don't know if you're gonna play it.
I didn't have it queued up. What was that?
Austin Jackson.
Oh, Jackson!
Cody Stayman. I am Kieran Steckley. Everybody have a great day.